Hi, everyone. My name is Katie. I am the Chief Marketing Officer for a company, a new startup called Quartr. And my associate and partner, Tabitha, was here for the earlier part of the conference, but unfortunately she had to leave us. So she left me with some speaker notes, and here I am to talk to all of you about what Quartr is. So I wanted to start off and give you an idea, a little bit of the story behind Quartr. And about 2 years ago, our founder, Jonathan, who also happens to be Tabitha's son, came home from college and, had an idea for a startup that he wanted to share with Tabitha, who is an individual who I worked with in corporate world at Verizon for many, many years. And then Tabitha and I went separate ways, and she went off to develop and create several different companies. This is her 5th company that she's involved in. I stuck with corporate world and spent many more years in telecommunications and such. So we reconnected on this, but Jonathan came home and was sharing a story about, I think, a story many of you students here can understand and relate to, in which he was spending a lot of time online watching, YouTube videos, playing games, listening to music, etc. And he was getting completely irritated by the fact that there was so many intrusive and different types of ads that were not relevant to him, that he was, frustrated, as were his friends. So Jonathan is the type of guy who has been very entrepreneurial all of his life, back to the days of grammar school, when he, unbeknownst to Tabitha, bought, remember all the little Live Strong yellow bracelets? He actually went online and bought those from China in grade school and started selling them on the school bus, to make some money. So always out to make a buck. He showed me a picture where he had 200 different Post-it notes across his wall of all these different ideas. So he had the idea, as he was, being inundated with all of these ads, that it was intrusive, and he felt that as a consumer, he should have a right to kind of own the relationship with the brand, and that he felt that these brands were, not relevant to him. So how could he address the situation? So he came up with the idea of creating a platform which was very consumer first, and that there was a opportunity for him to share his feedback with brands that he was interested in, and then be rewarded for them. So you can imagine where I'm going, that the idea behind Quartr was you would be compensated a quarter for providing your feedback to these brands on this platform. So with that, was the creation of Quartr. So Quartr is a technology that allows brands and businesses and people to connect. And so what we've built is built on the mindset that there's a technology, which is a very simple platform. It's lightweight. It's an app that you can download that is providing value both to business and to the consumer. So as the business, you're receiving feedback, honest and direct feedback from consumers. And then from a consumer standpoint, you're being rewarded, monetarily for that feedback. And so going back to the whole conversation about relationships with brands, which we know is deteriorating, Jonathan was raised in a family that was, involved in politics in the Richmond area. So learned a lot about relationships and figured out that a good relationship is mutually beneficial. So there's a two-way dialogue. When that dialogue breaks down and becomes one-sided, the relationship goes bad. We've all been in good relationships, bad relationships, and so we know what happens there. So we're big believers in our mindset that's all about equitability. So how Quartr works is you actually, download the app, you can sign up, you provide some basic demographic information. You also are providing some of your brand affinities, lifestyle affinities, to help us kind of target the types of ad that we would give to you so you can participate in the surveys and such. And then you also are providing some lightweight banking information. And that banking information is used for us to verify, you are who you are. So when it comes to, cashing out, we've got the right information. We know that me as Katie, I'm not a 20-year-old who lives in Chicago. I'm an older than 20-year-old female who lives in Atlanta, Georgia. So we know that, and we've got validation. So we think that's an important part of it, because you're not getting information from someone who's not who they are. So the benefits of that is, from a community standpoint, you're receiving the cash, you've got the control of the data, who's using it, how it's being used. You're receiving special offers in the platform from the brands. You also have the ability to influence those businesses that you may have an affinity towards, and it's easy to participate. From a brand perspective, you're getting that authentic and focused users. And why I call it that it's focused users is we actually have qualifying questions that you have to respond to, so we know that you are paying attention. So it's not like you're watching a 15-second spot. You've left the room and you're come back and you're providing feedback on it. You also are getting real-time feedback. We partner with a tech company that we are ingesting, analyzing, and sharing data to the brands in less than 3 minutes. So it's essentially real-time information. We also have the ability through AI to provide feedback on open-ended questions and such. And so the data that you're receiving is actionable, and it allows for brands to create and go back to, one-to-one relationships, with those consumers who have selected to participate with that brand. And then it's got scalability. I mean, we do have an opportunity, and we've seen it, our community grow pretty significantly over a short amount of time, primarily through word of mouth. So in our opinion, it's kind of the benefit is it's a win-win for both of the consumers. Going back, we've got a relationship that is very productive for both parties involved. So when we measure, the things that are important to us when we set up kind of our process and our surveys, we've got key metrics that we focus on: effectiveness, relevance, appeal, message, and creative. And we also have the 2 questions, as I mentioned, the qualifiers. So essentially it's 7 different questions that can be set up, and it's things where you can be testing anything from pieces of content. It can be A/B testing. It can be experiences. We're working with some major retailers right now about experience in store. So we can do like shelf tuckers and shelf placement cards to interact. So it's kind of an on-demand type of thing. And so it's kind of a broad range of information that we're collecting. And as we go through and we collect that information, we are assigning what we call a Quartr score. Basically what that is just kind of our secret sauce of how we analyze and look at, the effectiveness of the different tests that we're running for our partners and such. So before we launched publicly, which was just a few short months ago, we did a couple beta tests. And a couple things we wanted to test was to test, one, is there interest from the marketplace for something like that? I mean, Jonathan had a theory. We went out and tested it. We actually, based on a Reddit post that he posted, we actually increased our community by 10,000 people overnight. So we woke up, the thing was going crazy. We were like, what's happened? What did you do? Reddit said I was up at 2 a.m. I posted about it. So next thing you know, we had 10,000 people, and this is before we've even publicly launched. We ended up with almost 25,000 people on a wait list before the app even went live in the store. So we wanted to test with them, was this ongoing interest or this is an anomaly? So we did that. And the second thing was we wanted to test on-demand engagement from the community. So would this community respond by, to a text that there was more content available, allowing brands to reach out and collect feedback and information in that near real time. So both of those were part of this beta test that we ran before we tested it. So we posted almost 200 pieces of content that we collected on our own. And again, it was anything from videos, A/B testing, creative, store experiences, product design, packaging, and put that out. And we did that across 120 different brands for the community to review. And then we sent the notification to test the on-demand to 1,400 people who were on the wait list. And the metrics that we collected were age, demo, completion rate, time spent, earnings per hour, email collection, and then all of our different types of Quartr score for us to kind of share back. So we did it across different verticals, just so we would have the information so we could go out when we were basically going to market and talking to brands. We had a good set of data points that we could share with them across different verticals. And during that process, we collected over 900,000 data points, which we thought was a pretty impressive number to go to market with. So we went, after we did that, we got some great results. Just in the interest of time, I'm going to allow you guys to read what's up there. But we were surprised by some of them, one of them being the 65 seconds of engagement on a 15-second ad, just because people were repeating it because they enjoyed the process. One of the things that's not on here, which we loved to see, was we actually had almost 400 different comments submitted about the experience. So not only did they love the process, of course they loved earning money, but they wanted more. So we took all of this information and then just dug deeper into it as part of it into one of the categories. One of them happened to be a wireless accessory. After 20 years of telco, it's hard for me to get away from telecommunications. And we really loved what we found here. So what you're seeing is our composite scores, our Quartr score, and they were running 4 different creative units in Marketplace. We found that Creative C, based on our scoring model, was clearly outperforming the other 3 creatives. We took that back to the company. They put it into market. We received this feedback from the CEO that essentially said, because of the Quartr test and what we did, we swapped out, prioritized the creative that was running. It had a clear, impact on their business and became their top performing, ad that was running today. So for us, we were pretty excited about that. To us, it validated the impact and the proof it could have. And it resulted in, several different key learnings that we've really pulled out. One of them is, our hypotheses that the audience is engaged. We had validation of that because people were willing to participate. We also found out that we were providing value. We knew that. We loved that idea, that it was, validated by the community, especially through the 400 pieces of content. We had a secure platform, and going back to the whole thing about relationship and owning your data, if anyone's familiar with a will.i.am article that ran in The Economist, it was about owning your data, and we should be rewarded for that. I highly recommend it. But we saw that validated as well. So for us, it's all about first-party data at third-party scale. We've seen great response from the marketplace, and we feel like we launched in July. We've got a lot of great traction, and we're excited for things to come. Thank you.